Hello, everybody, and good evening. I hope you're doing well. Tonight, I was feeling like trying something new and going live on LinkedIn for the first time. So hopefully this is going to work. We might have a few glitches here and there. You will see in the background beautiful sunset live from Miami right now. And for today's live, I wanted to share something with you that might be useful to a lot of you listening, which is how to identify new luxury trends. And here I wanted to walk you through my methodology, my process to discovering new trending topics and trends in the world of luxury and beauty. So if you're interested in this topic, stay tuned as I'm going to demonstrate how you can also find some trends. And yeah, let's dive right into it. I'm going to just check if it looks like we are live. It seems like it's working. Let me just check. Is it online on LinkedIn? Going on my own LinkedIn page. Yes, it seems like we are live. I don't know if there are some comments or something that should be displayed somewhere. Okay, yeah, I even have the comments on the other tab. So hopefully we are set for success for this first LinkedIn Live. So let's go, without further ado, let's switch to this other tab. And here I'm switching to Submarine, Submarine AI, which is the tool that I've created and that analyzes the content of 2,600 luxury beauty and fashion brands on TikTok, Instagram, and YouTube. And that help luxury brands and luxury marketers and executives to identify trends and insights. So here, I'm going to enter Submarine. I'm already logged in, obviously. And here, for the demo, I'm going to look at the post menu on the left. Of course, we could look also at brands, trends, and other ways of looking at the data here at Submarine. But for the purpose of this demo, I'm going to look at the post. And the way I would approach a process of finding new trends would be to start the following way. So, I would go in the past category. I would check, the categories that I'm interested in. So here, we're going to go quite large. I'm going to check all the categories of luxury, from automobile to mass beauty, prestige beauty, retailer, watches, fashion, everything. And here I'm just going to uncheck media, which would include Vogue, Harper's Bazaar, and so on and so forth, GQ. Here, I'm going to remove it because I'm going to decide to focus today on brand trends, so trends that are coming from brands, which is different from the media, different from the influencers. We could have decided something else, but here, for the sake of this demo, let's look at what brands are doing, what's new in the world of brands. So next, I would go, in the time frame, and let's say I'm trying to find, the latest trends, the juiciest thing happening in our category. So here, let's look at the last 7 days. So we are here looking at the latest of the latest content posted by those 2,600 brands. I'm going to leave all platforms so that we see Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube. In this first step, we're not going to filter anything out. And I'm going to ask Submarine to give me the most viewed videos. So here I'm going to leave the filter on views. And here I am, with a ranking of thousands and thousands of videos from luxury and beauty brands. So those are the top videos sorted by views of the last 7 weeks. So what's happening in luxury over the last few weeks. And here, the way I would look for trends or interesting insights or nugget of truth is that I would simply look at some of the top video, maybe watch them for a few seconds and identify if there's a learning or an insight hidden here. So here, the first thing that comes to mind is, of course, number 1 and number 2, Miu Miu. So here we have 2 videos. So here I see those are TikTok videos published over the last 7 days from Miu Miu. One for their sneakers, another one for their handbags. And here, one that's very short, 8 seconds, and the other one, 41 seconds, a bit longer campaign. And here I'm going to click on the shoes video in order to watch the video and maybe see if there's anything I can learn. So here I'm opening the video from Miu Miu. I'm going to play it. Hopefully the sound is not going to be all over the place. Hopefully it's going to work. Keep in mind, this is my first LinkedIn Live doing this. By the way, let me know in the comments if you're enjoying this kind of format. Should I be doing it more often? Maybe should I do it in a specific category or on a specific trend that's interesting to you? Let me know. Here, so I'm going to play this video. Okay, here we see, typical TikTok kind of video. It's a little bit weird, it's very visual. And we see here those charms. This is, like a very successful product from Miu Miu. Those sneaker charms. And here we see the style all the Miu Miu sneakers with custom studio, making every pair unique. So here, what I'm hearing about this trend is that Miu Miu is leveraging the trend of customization. Customization is not new in the world of luxury, of course. That's a very well-known trend. But they're also leveraging the trend of charms. And charms have been doing a big comeback over the last few years. We've had bag charms, we've had all sorts of charms, and now sneaker charms. So which is interesting. It leverages this very human desire of being unique, of customizing their product. And here, so that's one first learning, how Miu Miu leverages customization. Now let's go back to the previous page. So here I'm, remember, in the top luxury videos of the last 7 days. And let's look at this. Let's look maybe at Miu Miu overall. So here I'm gonna go and look at the brand page of Miu Miu. So here, I'm gonna share this other tab. I am gonna type Miu Miu. And here I am gonna open the page of Miu Miu. And it's true that if we think about the last few months, the last few years, I've seen a steep and a very strong increase of the presence of Miu Miu in the ranking. Basically, each time I'm opening Submarine to check the ranking, the first few videos are very often from Miu Miu, which means, that they're doing content very seriously, they're investing more than other brands, and, they must be doing something right. So it's interesting to check what they're doing. So here I'm going to go, what are the top campaigns from Miu Miu? Maybe let's take a bit of a broader view here, and I'm going to look at the last 12 months. Let's look at all the platforms. And here we see, like the top videos from Miu Miu, 124 million views. Here is another video from May, so a few months ago, but also with charms for sneakers. Then in April, 103 million views. In March, 100 million views. It seems like almost every month, Miu Miu is releasing a huge campaign with around 100 million views, more or less, give or take. And we see that this is going on throughout the whole year of 2025. So if I'm a competitor of Miu Miu, maybe I should take a look at those campaigns, look at the engagement rates, what are the ones that worked the best. Here, I'm going to keep everything, high level, but definitely Miu Miu is doing something right. Which takes me also to another analysis I could do. Here, I'm going to go back to the homepage, and I'm going to look at the ranking of brands. And it's true that let's take a wider time frame. Let's look at the last 12 months, and we keep all the categories. And here, who is appearing at the second place of the top brands? So keep in mind, those are the brands that generated the most views on all social media. So this is all both organic and paid view. We cannot differentiate them, but it kind of tells you the brands that are investing the most on this topic, whether it is by creating the best content or by promoting their content with the most ads. Hopefully, it's a mix of both. And here, number 2, we see Miu Miu. So over the last 12 months, so in 2025, 2.1 billion views. So that's huge. There is only a handful of luxury brands that have more than 1 billion views, and Miu Miu has 2 billion views. Interesting fact, we see that the number 1 is Prada with 3 billion views. So similar kind of reach to Miu Miu, which is interesting because they are both part of the same group. Miu Miu is named after Miuccia Prada, hence Miu Miu. So we see that something interesting is happening at Miu Miu and Prada. So that's definitely something I would check. Now, going back to the top videos of the last 7 days. So keep in mind, we're hunting for some trends. We've seen Miu Miu. I'm not going to look at the other video from Miu Miu, but it seems very interesting as well. Let's move to another topic. We stay in the same group. We stay in the Prada group. And we see this video from Prada, number 3, 4.8 million views. So the amount of view is not very high yet because it's a video that was published just a few days ago. So the views are still going to go up over the next few months, next few weeks. But here we see this video from Prada. Okay, I'm curious. What is it about? It looks a bit mysterious. There is a date. Okay, so let's open. It's going to load. And let's see what is this video that's performing well from Prada. So let's look at it. It's TikTok. Okay, so here we see there seems to be an invitation, invitation to a fashion show. And I see, I'm going to pause here. I see in the description, okay, Miu Prada and Ralph Simons invite you, to the menswear collection. Watch the live streaming via TikTok. So it's interesting because here, we see, of course, they're just promoting their fashion show and they want to have a successful life. So that's, very common content from a luxury brand. But what's interesting is, I'm going to refresh the page. Let's watch the video again. And I hope you can hear me despite the sound. Maybe I'm just going to stop talking for 1 second so we can rewatch the video. And in this video, look at the textures. Look at how tactile everything is. So let's look at it and then I'll resume talking. Okay, so here we see, a human hand. We see textures, we see paper. So for me, it's a very human creation. It's a very, it's centered around the human hand and a human experience. And for me, this message, even though it's very subtle, here I'm interpreting it a lot, it's very relevant in the era of AI because in today's day and age, everything is generated by machines. Everything seems to be coming out of a robot. You're watching this streaming on LinkedIn. And, we all know that on LinkedIn, it seems like all the content. I hope it's working because I hope it's working. Let me just double check because I'm getting a weird message from my streaming service. Let me just double check that everything's working. Sorry, everybody, if there's anybody listening, if I haven't lost my connection, because, it's my first time. So I'm learning the ropes of streaming on LinkedIn. Let me double check. Okay, I'm going to go on my profile. Okay, yeah, it seems like we're still good. We're still live on LinkedIn. Perfect. Let me double check. Maybe is there any comments? Anybody commenting? No, you're maybe feeling a bit shy. I don't know. All right, so it seems like it's working. So hopefully I'm not, speaking in the wind and it's working. All right, so what I was saying is that the subtle message of this video is, that in this era of AI where everything is generated by a machine, here Prada highlights, the importance of a human experience, of the human hand. And I think that as we are going to get more and more, AI-generated content, we're going to see more and more importance of having things that are human-made, because us as humans, we want to connect with other humans. We don't want to connect with robots. And the more people are going to generate content with robots, the more we're going to want to connect with humans, which makes me think of another campaign that was created by Hermes just a few weeks ago. I don't know if you've seen it. You should check it. Maybe I'll talk about it on LinkedIn soon. But Hermes, everybody talked about their latest campaign because it was made with drawings, each of which was hand-painted and hand-drawn by an artist. And while, everybody is experiencing and experimenting with the AI to create AI-generated animation, Hermes did the opposite and actually created something that was hand-drawn, old-fashioned, old-school, very human. So get ready to see more of those. All right, so as you can see in my background, the sun is setting in Miami. It's almost night. Hopefully my lighting is still on point. But let's go back to the top videos of, the last 7 days. So here's same methodology. I'm going to continue. We've looked at Miu Miu, we've got Prada. Now, number 4, interesting, Jean-Paul Gaultier. Jean-Paul Gaultier, always interesting because Jean-Paul Gaultier is a huge player in the fragrance industry. I remember I grew up, with everybody wearing Le Mal, this iconic perfume from Jean-Paul Gaultier. But it's true that Jean-Paul Gaultier has created many other creations. Here I see the brand promoting another of their creation called Scandale. Let's take a look. Okay, what are they doing here? Okay, interesting here. So this is typical, TikTok content. What works on TikTok is, content that is a little weird, a little provocative, visually, that stands out visually. So here, what do we see? Someone taking a perfume, taking a fragrance, putting it in a champagne glass and drinking it, cheering with it. So, I think that on TikTok, that's what you need to do if you want to perform. And it seems like Jean-Paul Gaultier has understood the cause of TikTok. So here, another learning as well, as we go through this content is, the importance of shocking or provocative content for LinkedIn. So it seems like it's working well for Jean-Paul Gaultier here. All right, so let's continue. Let's not dig too much on each of the video. Let's try to see one or two other ones, and then I'll conclude this live. We're not going to spend the entire night together. Maybe that's a good news. Maybe that's not. I don't know. But let's just, look at one or two other ones, and then we'll call it a day. All right, so here, let's go back to the rankings, and I see, okay, what's the number 5? Fifth most viewed video of the last 7 days. Sephora. Interesting. So here we stay in the world of beauty. So we go from fragrance to, so I see here by Mario, so something more around makeup. But we are in the world of a retailer. So keep in mind, this is a content created by a retailer on, on TikTok again. Sorry, on Instagram. This is an Instagram video. And let's look at what they're trying to do here. Okay, let's watch this video. Okay, interesting. So here we see, close up a demo of a product. We can almost, feel the textures of this product. We can almost feel how it looks like. And what's interesting is I like here we see a retailer, one of the leading retailer in the world in the topic of beauty, highlighting a specific texture. I don't know if you've noticed, here, but we have this kind of jelly-like texture in makeup. And this, immediately evokes a trend that we see in makeup, which is the jelly trend, the gummy trend as well. We see more and more gummies, more and more vitamin in the format of gummies, more and more thing in this jellified texture. By the way, I'm going to go on the side, and you can see in my background, this is a little artwork that I've created. I didn't know I was going to show it today, but it's a little artwork that I created. I created a series of gummies. Maybe I'll show it to you in a better lighting another day. But because also I felt this trend of gummy and how this texture of gummy is important. And this makes me think of something I saw elsewhere. So here, I'm going to switch to this report that was published a few weeks ago by Pinterest. Excellent report. You should all check it, which is a report on 21 trends about everything that's happening on Pinterest. And what is the first trend in this Pinterest report based on the data collected by Pinterest? It's called Gimme Gummy, and it's about how this gel gummy texture, playful texture, is coming everywhere in terms of textures, in terms of food, in terms of fashion, makeup, etc., etc. Here we see the nails, an iPhone case, decoration, and so on and so forth. So here we see probably Sephora, did something right. And I'm just realizing that I was not sharing my screen, so sorry about this little thing. So here's what I wanted to show, the Gimme Gummy trend from the Pinterest report. Sorry about this glitch. Keep in mind, this is my first live. And we see Pinterest, using, they rightfully seen that the gummy trend was an important trend. All right. So interesting to see that here Sephora is leveraging a trend that seemed to go much beyond just TikTok, just social media, even beauty. So that's interesting. All right, so maybe let's do one last thing, and maybe tell me in the comments, is this something helpful to you? Is it interesting? Hopefully this is working. I really hope, my biggest fear is that I'm going to end this stream, and in fact I'm not recording, and I was talking in the wind to nobody. Let's see. Hopefully this is not gonna happen. Worst case, I will record it tomorrow. But yeah, tell me in the comments. Maybe leave a like. Tell me in the comments if this is helpful to you. If you want me to do more of those, little inspirational session. So now let's go back. I'm going to check that I'm, doing it well. Okay, now you can see my screen. Let's go back to the most viewed campaign of the last 7 days. And here, who do I see at place number 6? Interesting, because that's not a common brand that's usually in the top videos. That's more, a smaller brand in terms of views. Here we have, the iconic Ferrari, the car brand. Interesting, 1.9 million views. Keep in mind, they're probably going to have more views by the time you watch this live because, the video keeps getting more and more views. But here, let's look at what Ferrari is trying to do in this campaign. All right, so I'm opening the campaign. We're going to play it and then let's comment. All right, so interesting. So here's another example, of the kind of content that works well on TikTok. It's weird, it's only the sound. Of course, here Ferrari is leveraging one of its icon, one of its code, something that's part of its DNA, which is the sound of the Ferrari engine. I don't even, I didn't listen it with a lot of volume. I don't know if you did. I don't even know if this was the engine or maybe someone working on building a Ferrari. So maybe I might going a bit too quick on this, but a bit strange. We hear the sound. We see Lewis Hamilton, that was, famously recruited by Ferrari. I think it was 2025 or maybe the previous year. So interesting. We see the importance of celebrity endorsement. And in this case, a very relevant celebrity in the world of sports car, of course. Now, there's one detail that I'm interested to double check. Let's double check it together. Because for now, we've only talked about views, which are a proxy for investments by the brands. And we've only looked at creative aspects, what is happening in the video and is it a trend or not. Now, let's go a little lower in the submarine page. So we have the views. We see it's 500% above the category average. So, for an automobile video in January, this is a very successful campaign. But the most interesting is the second one here, the engagement rate. So engagement rate is very simple. We measure the amount of likes and comments that a video has divided by the amount of views. So it's like plus comment plus share divided by view. And this is not impacted by the investment. So it doesn't matter if this is a big campaign or a small campaign on which the brand has put a lot of money. This is only a measure on how well did the public responded to this campaign. And here we see it has an engagement rate of 18.33%, which some of you might think, is it a big engagement rate or not? So we need a comparison. So here we see this is 400% above the category average. So meaning for a video in the automobile category of January, 18% is 400% above. So this is a hit video by Ferrari. Ferrari did something really good in this video. For those of you who know a bit about this KPI, 18% is a phenomenal engagement rate. So Ferrari did a great job. We can explain this also by the fact, that Ferrari has such, a strong following base. People love Ferrari. It's a love brand, and they tend to comment. They're, addicted to this brand. So here it's not a total surprise, but Ferrari did something very good here. So just out of curiosity, so keep in mind, this is 18% engagement rate. Now, let's look at Ferrari in general. So I'm going to go to the Ferrari page, still on Submarine. And let's look at their average metric. So I'm just going to look at the last 3 months to get their, their latest metrics. And here, let's look at their average engagement rate. And here I see Ferrari has an average engagement rate of 9.14%, which is extremely high if you know this metric. But it also puts in perspective that the campaign we just watched had 18%, so double this engagement rate. So even for a brand like Ferrari that usually has a good engagement rate, this video performed particularly well. It resonated really well with the audience. So if I was about to develop a new campaign, whether I work for Ferrari or I work for any other brand that want to draw inspiration from Ferrari, it seems like they've done something really good in this video. So I would double check carefully what Ferrari has done here. So by the way, all those videos, just go on the pages of the brands, on TikTok, on Instagram, and you can find them easily. If not, write it in the comment and I'll send you the link. All right, so I said this was the last video, but you know what? Let's do one last one. I'm enjoying this. Hopefully this is helpful for everybody. Hopefully also the quality is good because, first time doing this. I hope my screen is not all pixelated. I hope it is HD. I'm trying this new tool, StreamYard, first time using it. And I don't have the premium mode yet. So I think in order to stream really in full HD, I will need to get the premium mode. So let's see if it goes well. Maybe tell me in the comments if you enjoy the live stream. I will do another one and pay for the premium mode. So just tell me if it's helpful for you. All right, so what else are on the top content? So I see, this COSRX brand is coming a lot, but, I don't know, Miu Miu again, Diesel, Sephora, maybe Burberry. You know what? Let's do Burberry. Interesting brand, Burberry has gone through everything, ups and downs. Iconic brand, iconic British brand. icon of the British luxury. But, Burberry has gone through all the phases of the hype cycle. And it seems like, now in terms of content, they're coming back. They're creating some excellent content again, So let's look at what have they cooked this week. So here is the video from Burberry, a TikTok video. Let's look at the metrics, 2 million views, so that's great. 1.4% engagement rate, much lower, even lower than the category average. 13-second video, so let's look at it. Okay, what's happening? Okay, so good thing the video starts with a cute dog. Here, you can't go wrong by showing a cute doggy in a video. Here we love dogs. I mean, I also love cats. No discrimination, dog, cats, whatever you're into, it's cute. It's, the internet is famous for loving cat video, dog videos. So that's a good thing. It draws attention. Excellent, how we call it a visual hook. So good visual hook from Burberry. Also, it's raining. So in some way, it evokes, okay, I'm going to get some hate probably in the comments for saying this, but it evokes the UK, the rainy weather of London. London is, unlike Miami, where I'm based, Florida is called the Sunshine State. Nobody has ever called London the Sunshine City. So, the rain embodies also the British DNA. We see the rain, pouring on a coat. It's not a trench coat, but it seems to be made in the same material as the iconic Burberry trench coat. By the way, I remember this interview from Christopher Bailey, the former creative director of Burberry, that was, the creative director at Burberry's peak maybe a decade ago or so. And he used to say that the Burberry had 3 elements to their DNA. The check, this pattern, this iconic pattern that's usually in the inside of a trench coat or sometime on scarves and some other Burberry creation. So the 3 element of the DNA was the check, the trench coat, of course. And third, he added digital, because Burberry was one of the first luxury brands to embrace digitization at such a level. So now let's go back. Sorry for this. I got a little bit sidetracked. Let's go back to the video. And here I see the caption, interesting, dry as a bone, #Burberry. Interesting, so here we get it. Why did we see a dog? So they use this expression, dry as a bone, meaning if you wear this coat from Burberry, you're going to stay dry, you're not going to be wet. As a bone, meaning it interests a dog, because dogs love bones. So here we see it's playful. Luxury brands love to use humor. By the way, if you like this trend of luxury and humor, I just published a video on TikTok. By the way, follow me on TikTok and on YouTube as well. So on this trend of how luxury brands are leveraging humor, and I've explored the DNA of Hermes. And it's true that a lot of people, when you think about Hermes, you don't think about fun. You think about craftsmanship, the link to the equestrian world, and so on and so forth, the orange box. But one of the key elements of Hermes DNA is also humor and fun, what they call lightness. So I'm not going to spoil my other video, so check the video if you want to learn more. But it's true that luxury brands leverage humor second degree. Like, luxury brands are never goofy. It's not the point here, but they use a touch of humor in order to connect at an emotional level with their brand. So that's what Burberry has done here. All right, so I'm going to stop here for today's live. I hope this was helpful, that you were able to identify a few trends that can be helpful for your job if you're working for luxury brands, if you're a student, if you're creating your own brand, if you're in an agency interested in all things creatives. So this was a first try for me. Hopefully I did not bore you. So let me know in the comments, what did you think? What should I do? Should I do this more? Should I do this every day, twice a day, whatever? Let me know. And I don't know, if you've loved this video, maybe like it and share it with a friend. And if you've hated it, well, share it with an enemy.